I promise I'm going to post part 4 soon of my story about my grandma, but I saw this comment and I wanted to reply to it. The story feels so me-coded. I've trusted where I shouldn't have and had it backfire big time, and I don't know why I'm so trusting with people. I want to reiterate and maybe explain a little bit of like the victim's perspective of this, and validate that you're not wrong for trusting people, especially family members. So we, like, biologically, we are wired to want to trust and believe and love our family members. That's why people end up being subjected to so much worse treatment from their family members, and sometimes never leave or end that relationship, because there's biological pressures, there's sociological or societal pressures. There's so much stacked against you to make you believe and gaslight yourself that like your relationship with your family, their titles supersede everything else, and that it doesn't matter how they treat you because of what their title is. But it does matter how they treat you. That matters more than what their title is. No one should be allowed to treat you poorly regardless of what their label is. But before I go any further, this is a reminder that I'm raising money for 2 families in... The first is Rhonda, who has several family members that are in need of urgent medical care, including her father, who's in dire need of heart surgery, and they have been stuck at this place in their goal for a long time. The second is Rabba, who we were able to get to their initial goal of $45,000, so they will be able to escape into Egypt after the border opens. However, that's not enough money for them to be able to survive, get food, find shelter, all of that stuff. So that's why the goal has been increased to $70,000. So I'm asking that for payment for this story, I'm asking that you give $5 to either this or this if you have over $1,000 in your bank account. And if you have under $1,000, you give $1 to $2 here. I post receipts every day of me giving that away. And if you can't do that, I understand. Engage over here. Make a comment that is 9 words or more that's relevant to this specific video. No heart chains, no additional emojis. That cues off the Al Gore. So for me, the reason why I continue to share and why there's even more that I shared that I'll get to eventually, is because she knew every right thing to say. Like, that's what's so scary about this, is it seemed like she literally did the research to know what things to say to an estranged adult child to lure them into this false sense of safety. Additionally, in this situation with my grandma, I've been rejected by my parents, the people who were supposed to protect me from everyone, okay? And in my childhood, my grandma did a lot for me. Like, I was a very sick child. I got migraines. I just had a lot of anxiety and would get sick from being so anxious. My grandma would always come pick me up from school. I'd go to her house. She made me my favorite meal. We'd watch the Brady Bunch together. Like, I have a lot of positive memories with her growing up because I was a golden grandchild. But now that I started being the truth teller, I didn't realize how quickly my role with her would shift, and how she would realize in real time that she needed to make it seem like I was still a golden grandchild to her so that I would give her all this information. Should I maybe have been more careful and shared less? Probably. But I don't regret sharing what I shared. I don't regret giving her the chance to be the person that I hope she would be, because that shows me that I am healing, that I'm able to hope that people are the people that they say they are, you know? And I've always lived my life that way. I've always been trusting of people because I think it's really lonely to live your life being suspicious of everyone. Regardless of if you are trusting or suspicious, relationships come with the risk of being hurt. So that's not necessarily, like, if you isolate yourself, yeah, you might not get hurt, but you're going to be really, really lonely. And regardless of whether or not you trust people or not, they're going to hurt you. So I rather trust people first, be my real self, and when they hurt me, take that at face value and, try to have reconciliation and repair. And if they're not open to repairing, then ending that relationship. But I don't know. I just think that it's a happier and more authentic way to live your life, trusting people first. Not necessarily to the point where you're going to trust them with everything about you. I think in the context of my situation with my grandma, like, she's my grandparent, I should be able to share things about my life with her, but unfortunately that's not the case. I really can't, because she's not a safe person for me. Just in summary, I guess I would say, like, when you trust someone and it backfires, that doesn't say anything negative about you. That says something negative about them, that they're not a trustworthy or safe person. And we can get into this habit of, like, hindsight's 2020. So, like, where if we have this belief that we shouldn't trust anyone, that no one's trustworthy, and then someone lets us down, it creates that like self-fulfilling prophecy, and also that like hindsight validation. It validates that idea we shouldn't trust anybody because they proved us right, when really like we were looking for things for them to prove us right about, you know? And I just think it's a lot happier of a life to live, to hope that the things that you're proven right about is that people are trustworthy, and people can be good, and people can be loving, and people can be supportive of you. Because to go through life looking at it with the negative aspect of like everyone's out to get me, or I don't know, like I can't really trust anyone, one, that's part of supremacy. That's part of making you not trust other people, so that capitalism can be successful in individualism excelling and us isolating ourselves from one another instead of building community. But it also like validates this false sense of that like people need to be perfect to be in a relationship with you. And I'm not saying that you should like forgive abusive people, not at all, but that like just because my grandma and my mom were abusive and I trusted them and they used it against me, doesn't mean that everybody is like that. That doesn't mean that I shouldn't trust other people, or that I should assume that everybody is going to abuse me if I tell them things about myself. But all that to say, like, after this all happened, that was the first thing I said. Like, so I'm giving you this lecture, but like I fell into this trap too, where I was like, I feel so betrayed. I feel like I can't trust anybody. For me, at least, that was a healthier thing to think in that moment, instead of thinking like, wow, another person in my family betrayed me. What's wrong with me? Why does no one in my family want to support me or love me? And like, that's a valid thing that I ask myself all the time, but I remind myself it's not about me, right? It's about them, and that I shouldn't internalize this. This doesn't say anything negative about me. This doesn't mean that I'm wrong or my identity's wrong or I've done anything wrong here. This is a them problem. This is them trying to control the little bit semblance of control they have in their lives, which is why they try to control everyone else, because they feel out of control themselves. Anyways, I want to encourage all of us to be gentle with ourselves, be gentle with each other. Like, it's really easy to be like, I should have known better. But like, what a depressing way to live, you know, to be so doubtful of everybody.